The lack of infrastructure for high schools and primaries is issue of money. Historical debt, which are a form of constraints in terms of the economical activities and mobilization of young people. A colonized curriculum that is indoctrinated in the current educational system. Racism that should be addressed in schools, students, and universities. Lack of job opportunities as SSAs. The curriculum must be decolonized, honorable members. That is one sense of the EFF that cannot shy away from. As the EFF will always provide a decisive and a clear direction. Here are the resolution that we find necessary for this house to take forward. The direct instruction of public administration to do away with historical debt for students who are studying in higher institutions, Tibet, and universities. In conclusion, honorable members, we are pleading with this house to be relevant to the we are contesting for superior. We are very much decisive in terms of the movement of the progress and we need a very fund students. Because we are spending here at CUT with a number of students that have used this pattern from a long time ago, and they have never, they are pleased with it. It's like that. Even if the honorable member agreed.
Honorable member, there's a point of order. Honorable Masike.
Thank you, Speaker. The honorable member there says that the premier must ensure that she fights students. I'm not sure if he understood what he meant by fighting students. Can the honorable member withdraw that? Because the premier, the responsibility of the premier is to ensure that she assists students, not to fight students. I thank you.
The failures of national government to build enough adequate student housing on campus. Speaker, with the failures of the national government to build enough adequate student housings on campus, students are faced with the option of off-campus accommodation, which brought more issues instead of solutions. Those issues being those of safety of students, landlord catering for students in unpleasant manners, students living under unsatisfactory conditions, and all of this could have been avoided had there been proper attention paid to students. Speaker, as the Democratic Alliance student organization, we ask the provincial government to take buildings owned by the various departments which are not in use to be converted into student accommodation. This can assist the lack of enough quality accommodation and potentially create a stream of income for the province. We further ask for the province to subsidize student accommodation housing to assist students with the high cost of living and the unnecessary high cost of leasing and off-campus private accommodation. The province should be willing to work with young people who are in property development to patch the gaps in the market through SMMEs, fundings, and subsidies. This is simply because who knows the youth better than young people themselves? We ask for a functional housing tribunal to be easily accessible by the members of public. We need an office that we as students can run to when we need to hold landlords accountable as well as stakeholders. Speaker, we unfortunately have students who are either facing potential deregistration or are deregistered due to financial issues simply because NSFAS failed to do its administration work. Wrongfully N+ affected students always voice their frustration, but deaf ears are the only place we could say these cries are falling on. Simply, the province is failing to protect its own future. It is claimed that more than a billion rands was spent on bursaries and stipends for over 5 years. That is roughly 250 million per year. Yet there's nothing to actually show for such spending by the province. The Premier's bursaries is praised as the White House of the province. I simply say it's a disgrace for the youth of 1976 and the youth of Fees Must Fall. It is a bursary that is limited to a special few who knows the right corners to stand on, the right doors to knock on, and which people to have in the phone directory. Simply, you have to have a connection in order to even know about the bursary. Madam Chair, is this the democracy which we are living in? The top 100 students of the province are unfortunately subject to disappointment like the rest of the province. With no one to account for the issues they face with regards to finances, empty promises is what we can say the Free State provincial government is known for. Speaker, transparency is key in gaining trust of the public. This is how the MEC of Finance should run her office. We ask for a centralized application system that the youth of the province can use to apply for the likes of the Premier's bursary. We need a system that is free for all. As we all know that access to gadgets and internet access is a problem for some, if not most of youth in the Free State. The limitations are being placed on many youth who come from poor backgrounds. The system needs to be designed to an extent that children from rural areas like the Moroto Trust and Nyakalung get access to such information. In my closing remarks, the Office of the Premiers also needs to appoint a delegate to go out and seek part of the youth, educate them on the opportunities which are presented by this very Free State province. It is quite clear that the youth are not catered for in this province. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honourable Member. Moving to our next speaker, Honourable Mati. Can you please, Honourable Mawethu Mati, you may take to the podium.
Honourable members, you are all greeted equally. We bring this submission to this House from the Youth Strata Front within the working class and organized by COSATU in ally with the African National Congress. COSATU Young Workers is a youth structure in the Congress of South African Trade Unions. The organization has deep interest of young people and the young workers and young people in general. Our interest as an organization is not limited to fight employment-related issues. We are, however, committed to social justice and equal society. We acknowledge the efforts and gains we have made since our democratical breakthrough in 1994. As we acknowledge this, we also appreciate the fact that legacy of the national class oppression remains. This then requires to develop a scientific, responsive approach to strengthen and defend the gains of democracy. As COSATU Young Workers, we have identified our problems as young workers to be related with the problems of society in general. We have analyzed the workplace as an organism of the broad society, and therefore, we cannot define our challenges away from those of society we live in. Firstly, as COSATU Young Workers, we acknowledge our problems in the workplace as a deepened entrenchment of class division and as a reflection of continued class oppression, which is characterized by the general social and economic inequalities. The landing of COVID-19 in our shores highlighted the crisis and deep poverty in which workers and young people live in. The lack of adequate access to primary health care, decline in employment, and growth in labor, hyper-exploitation, resumable parasitic state patronage towards the working class is in our province. As COSATU Young Workers, we stand in support of the idea proposed by COSATU in the presentation in the Provincial Workers' Parliament. We support the establishment of a state pharmaceutical company in the province, which will, amongst other things, help us prepare for the next pandemic. Without having to rely on the national government and international community. Embedded to this is the idea of creation of effective distribution of health accessories and medication to our poor people in the province. As young people, we also see the dire need for immediate implementation of the National Health Insurance to assist the poor working class with high unemployment as a result do not afford to travel too far as to clinics. We therefore propose a 24-hour operating local clinics. In this context, we propose that each ward have a clinic based on proportion and demarcation. On inequality, unemployment and poverty, COSATU Young Workers in the province recognizes the deepened crisis of the triple challenge facing the young people in society in general. Our young people in the province and the country at large still live under an unequal society in which has become normalized. Unemployment and poverty. We are of the view that the provincial government should invest in local economy and township and rural economy to uproot.
Thank you very much, Honorable Mati.
Hey, I was trying to move.
Remember there in the back, there was no need to clap your hands. As I said before, I can see when the time is up, and I'm sure the honorable member on the podium can also see that. So there was no need to clap hands. What is that hand for, honorable member? On who?
What's your point of order, honorable member?
Honorable Mati, thank you.
Everything that have ANC.
Thank you so much, DC. Deputy Chairperson, I'm raising this point of order on the chair when she threatened the young people to call Sergeant-at-Arms on us. Can she please not bring the elderly people to come and violate us? Thank you so much. Can she please withdraw? She does not even have the authority to call Sergeant-at-Arms on us. Thank you so much.
Honorable member, firstly, I think that happened about an hour ago, if I'm not mistaken. We cannot repeat things over and over again. In the standing orders of this sitting that we are currently in, one of the things that we should refrain from as honorable members of the city is repetition, honorable members. The presiding officer or the speaker has every right to call the Sergeant-at-Arms if she feels that it's necessary to do so. It's part of the standing rules of this session that we are part of, honorable members. With that being said, thank you. Over to you, Speaker.
Thank you very much, Deputy Chair, on that ruling. As we move forward, Honorable Mukoni, what is that hand for?
Speaker, I just want to raise this point of order in terms of protecting members of this House. I have realized that there is a pattern, Speaker. Whenever members of opposition are standing there, the members that side, they agitate, they provoke, and you have failed in your capacity as the Speaker.
That is not a point of order.
It is a point of order.
No,
it is a point of order. Speaker, don't suppress me. Don't abuse your power.
That is
I'm
not
not
a
finished.
point. That is not a point of order.
What do you mean it's not a point of order?
You may take a seat.
So meaning that members of this House cannot be protected.
You may
This is an ANC show. You must just listen to members of the ANC and allow them to visitors anyhow.
You may take your seat, Honorable Member. Thank
Honorable Speaker, can you respond?
you. You may take your seat.
It's a point of order.
You may take your seat, Honorable Member. Honorable Mkoni, I don't think that was a point of order, and really to accuse my co-chair here of being biased, that is not true, because he made a ruling on the point of order that was raised, and I'm sure everyone in the House can agree that he did not suppress anyone and he was not biased towards anyone. What we are not going to have in this House is members who continuously want to degenerate this House, honorable members. And I did say, honorable members, if you feel that you don't want to be part of this House, you are more than welcome, honorable members, honorable member, to excuse yourself, and this House will continue with its business of the day. And we're moving quite nicely, honorable members, so I don't know what's starting to happen again. I have not recognized you. And I did say, honorable members, that you may raise your hand, and it is up to me as a presiding officer whether or not I will note that hand. I was making a ruling on the first hand, honorable member. I'm going to repeat it again. Maybe I'm going to say it slowly so that we understand each other. You may raise your hand, honorable members. Then the presiding officer will decide whether to note your hand or not. And that is the procedure in this House. I'm sure now I've said it in a much slower pace and everyone can actually understand what I am saying. Honorable members. Honorable member, I see a hand.
Well, thank you very much. Chair, my name is Biaki Chamagala. It is very sad that
honorable member at the back, I recognize the honorable member to speak. So, no, you are not going to disrupt other members in here. You are not going to disrupt other members here. Every time when you speak, everybody else keeps quiet and they listen to your point of orders. You are going to do the same. You are going to do the same to other members as well. When they speak here, you are going to keep quiet and listen to them as well. Because I'm sure you would not want other members to become rowdy when you are speaking. No one is talking. No one is speaking to you, honorable member. No one is speaking to you. No one is speaking to you. Whether it's a youth parliament or it's not a youth parliament, honorable members, the decorum of the House must be upheld. Honorable member, you may continue.
well, thank you very much. Chair, see, I'm rising to raise this concern. From where I come from, we stay very close to the province of KwaZulu-Natal. The more we waste time on point of orders instead of wasting time dealing with issues or the agenda of the day, let me rest assured the House Chair, the ones that we are here representing, they are not benefiting anything. So I'm pleading with you, Chair, because already from Thabo Mofokeng, which is the biggest region in the province, I'm pleading, Chair, that let's work on time so that some of us we get to arrive home in time.
Honorable member, that was not a point of order. I can chair, honorable member, that you don't have to, assist me. Honorable members, we are going to move forward with our program. And on the podium, honorable member, Honorable Taba, can you please move to the podium?
Ke dumedisa Speaker, the Deputy Speaker,
Honorable Member, to the people that are assisting us at the back with the distribution of foods and snacks, can you please do it quietly so that we may hear what the Honorable Member is saying? Please. Thank you, Honorable Member. You may continue.
Ke dumedisa Speaker, the Deputy Speaker, the Chair of Chairs, all the members of the Executive Council, and all the members of the Provincial Legislature. I uprise from the Red Nation, economic freedom fighters. It is with great honor to stand in front of everyone today in this youth parliament to celebrate the youth of 1976 and what they stood for and fighting against an unjust government system. We take lessons from the group. The only issue we have is that we are not coordinated as young people. Madam Speaker, my contribution to our debate today is mainly around the disabled health system and economy. Speaker, the Commission on Growth and Development was established in April 2006. It felt that the benefits of growth were not fully appreciated, but also to recognize that the causes of growth were not fully understood. Let us get one thing straight. COVID-19 might have contributed to a decline in the economy, but it is not the main resource or reason. Before unemployment rate was already 34%. As we speak, the repo rate has gone up twice. The fuel price was less than 15 rand in 2021 February. The cost of living is unbearable and young people are at the receiving end of this. We as young people can no longer rely on elderly to fix our present and future. We call for the nationalization of banks and mines. The state needs to build capacity by building own bank construction. This will also reduce the corruption we've seen from the tender system. Looking on the lack of skills in a broader scale, the lack of skills in a particular area could be either chronic or temporary. If is chronic, for example, one in an economy can learn programming. They will not produce any software. Noted that causes of lack of skills among South Africa youth were as the result of the shortage of investment skills, poor infrastructure and weakness in the training system, and cyclic increase in employment in the various sectors. Moving forward, lack of health service. In all three countries, poor people are not benefiting from or accessing health services to the same extent of wealthier group, and when they do, they are mainly using lower cost nearby primary care public facilities. In all three countries, higher order public and private hospitals are mostly located in urban area, making their access difficult for the poorest groups living in remote areas. These groups were more likely to use closer primary level facilities found in sub-districts. However, even these could be difficult to reach. For example, you travel about miles before you get to the health facility. When you are sick and have to travel a mile, if God is not on your side, you may die. Ngenxa yokusilela kwezixhobo ezibhedlele ngenxa yokusilela kwezixhobo ezibhedlele, the babies There are babies who have died because incubators were occupied.
Thank you, Honorable Member. Honorable Members, I did say that you don't have to clap hands when the time is up. Please refrain from doing such. We're going to have another speaker from the Economic Freedom Fighters. It's Honorable Matluko. Honorable Matluko, please take to the podium.
Thank you very much, Honourable Speaker and Chair of the session. Mine is just to give a political overview of the EFF. Greetings to all young people, unemployment, landless, and dejected masses of our people. It's great how members of the executive and legislatures give us a historical background on the importance of this month. This month is the month of the Freedom Charter, and today is the day that Comrade or Honorable Member Chris Hani, one of the guerrillas who were on the forefront of our liberation, assassinated by the racial settlers who have turned 80 years old. We cannot neglect the fact that the ruling elect have neglected the Freedom Charter and have become self-serving people. Speaker, the theme of today is, the theme of today is promoting sustainability, livelihood, and resilience of young people for better tomorrow. It would have been very progressive and very revolutionary if indeed the livelihood of young people were actually included or taken serious. The overall view of the EFF is that young people need to be involved in the decision making of the country. Young people must not only be reduced to forums. We as the organization render the whole city irrelevant, bogus, and useless. Subsequently see the whole process as an insult to the youth as a whole. Us as the movement would like to echo out without a fear or favor that we spit on the so-called youth parliament. Speaker, it is befitting to equally register the fact that this sitting serves as a sign to disrespect or spit on the legacy of the generation of 1976. Tina, as the EFF, will not allow a situation where our history is being turned into a tribunal or rather a stand-up comedy show. Surely, the spirit of theatre machining is definitely not in revolutionary peace. Thereupon, further to boldly utter that we know that this is another way or another approach of siphoning state or provincial funds. Let it be known to the entire House that we as the EFF, we are here to demand the budget of this gathering. As I submit, Honourable Speaker.
Thank you, Honourable Member. In that fashion, Honourable Members, we're going to call our next speaker. In front of you, there's a speaker's list. There's a speaker's list in front of you, and with the one that I have, there's a bit of alteration. As you noticed, the following speaker was supposed to be Honourable Memela, but so we're going to have Honourable Mazibuko to take to the podium as the speaker from the ANC. Honourable Mazibuko, please take to the podium. Honourable Mazibuko, please take your seat. I just need to address this. I'm just wondering what is the point of order is on about when there was no speaker on the podium. I am just wondering what the point of order is when there was no speaker. No, you are not going to be given an opportunity. The chance to speak, Honourable Members. There was no speaker on the podium. What are you raising on?
like this one.
Honorable members, it can be that when other honorable members have to speak, the house have to degenerate, but when others speak, everything is in order, honorable members. It can be.
But I think you have Chairperson, once now I'm raising I'm asking.
What is the point of, are you guys on a point of order? What are you raising one of
Basically, what you should do is you should ask the member first.
Honorable members, honorable members, honorable members, honorable members, honorable members. This house is not going to collapse because people feel that it's not supposed to sit. No, it's not going to collapse. It's not going to collapse. Honorable members, 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 honorable members. Luckily, this house, there are rules and procedures, and there are powers invested in this house as well. Invested. If honorable members, I'm going to ask people to start leaving the house if they don't want to be part of this house. Honorable members, I'm going to ask people to leave this house, and if they don't leave, the IPSS is here to assist them. Honorable Mkodi, you may take your seat. You may take your seat or you may leave the house. You may take the seat or leave the house. And if you don't want to take your seat, the IPSS is here, will assist us in escorting you out of the house, and the house will continue with the business of its day. We're not going to have this, honorable members. You can't want to threaten other members when they are speaking, but when it is your chance to speak, everyone else has to listen to you. No, honorable members, this house has rules and it has a procedure. And luckily for us today, we also are invested with certain powers. We will ask you to leave the house, or we will assist you to leave the house, honorable members. And that one, it will happen. Trust me on that one, it will happen, honorable members. Take your seat, honorable Masite. Honorable members, I'm repeating this. If you don't want to be part of this city, you may excuse us. Excuse this house, or we'll ask you to leave. And if you can't do that, honorable members, you'll be assisted. You'll be assisted, honorable members. No. Honorable Masite, Honorable Masite. Honorable Mkoni. Honorable Mkoni. Mkoni, if you don't want to be part of us, you can excuse yourself. Honorable Mkoni, if you don't want to be part of this sitting, you can excuse yourself.
No, they must shut up and sit down. You don't have to remove them, you are not scared of them. They must not be quiet.
Honorable Mkoni, please leave the house. 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 Can the IPSS assist us in removing Honorable Mkoni? Honorable Mkoni, please leave the house. Where's my IPSS? Can the IPSS assist us in removing Honorable Mkoni out of the house? Honorable Mkoni, please leave the house. Honorable Mkoni, please leave the house. IPSS, can you please assist Honorable Mkoni leaving the house here? Honorable Mkoni, please leave the house. 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 Where's the IPSS? Where's the IPSS? Why are they not moving? You are next. Can we have the IPSS as well that is going to assist us in removing people from the house? I have those powers, honorable member. Unfortunately for you, I do have those powers for today. The IPSS must also come in so that they make our work in this sitting very easy as well. No one is going to collapse this sitting today. If you feel like you don't want to be part of this sitting, you may excuse yourself. It is that simple. Now let's hear it. Honorable member, there's no singing in this sitting. Honorable member there at the back. No. Honorable members, no. The house is not going to collapse. We are going to finish the business of the day. The IPSS must get in here so that we assist people in leaving this house because they don't want to be part of this house. It is very simple, honorable members. If you don't want to be part of this house, you may excuse yourself or we will assist you to leave this house. We are not going to collapse this house. It is not going to happen, honorable members. It is not going to happen. Honorable members, I called on the podium. Honorable members. Honorable members. Honorable members.
continue? Yes.
The IPSS has been called. It will be in this sitting with us throughout, so that when people don't want to be part of us, they can excuse themselves or they'll be assisted. Honorable member, I didn't recognize you. I did not recognize you, honorable member. Honorable members, I did not recognize you. I said the IPSS is being called. We're still going to deal with the matter of Honorable Mugoni there. All right. Honorable members, because the House seemingly, I wouldn't say that it is collapsing, but there's certain elements of degeneration. We're going to take 5 minutes recess, and in that 5 minutes recess, can the IPSS also be located and come to the sitting as well? So we're going to have 5 minutes recess.
Because we don't need IPSS.
No, we are.
The house is on a recess.
The house is on a recess. It's fine, it's up to them. Yes. I said they must come in here, they must always
district representative. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, ke tlo kopa re emisa hanyenyana with the refreshments. Ke tlo kopa each political party that is here, ke tlo kopa one rep of each political party, one rep of each district to come and join me as we go out and have a 3 to 4 minutes caucus. Yes.
The chairperson and the deputy. The chairperson and the deputy.
Do you think we should take them?
Okay,
so fine. We'll also take the presiding officers because then parties are there, so that it should not appear as if they are biased. All the parties join us, one per party. It means I'm expecting 9 warm bodies.
Okay.
Yeah. 9 warm bodies. I'll come with them. Osha, Kibona Democratic Alliance. EFF is here. Mangaung is here. Fezile Dabi.
Political party.
Which we're now second. ANC is here. Harip is here. No, we can't have 2 ANCs. We can't have 2 ANCs. No, I made it clear that I need political parties and districts. I want political parties and districts. Where's Lijol Put? Is here. Okay, no, it's fine. We can go. Let's go.
Ka mo le ba kreile kaofela?
jwale. Jwale re kwatile jwale. Jwale re kwatile. Ho ka se re le babe. Yo. Kita menyabo. Aku kata ya.
Alam mo na na ubay ko dali man. Tapos na sa party.
Yan ya fa.
Ono.
Malu. Ay.
Pagpila na.
District mga. Eh. Ada zondo. Sing tu faka akhirnya sering kata tu wa kafe district. So ki bomang ko hari pikir ati ba ki bo ba to.
We didn't announce that.
Ah kata udi sana mo. O tla tla announce ha chi.
Ma. Se ke tshweke go bona ba le fe bona ke mang ke district.
No district affairs leader bikina le yena le gari pele tshofutsa ba ne ke na le bona. Le jwe ke ba tseba ke mang gari ke a tseba ke mang first leader bi thang ka thosa mfutsa yana fela le manga o ke mang to fa bona le jwe ako yo ana ke ba ke simpio khalifa o ka le ka manga o
Sorry, ladies and gentlemen. Ke go pautime di mic tse pedi tseo.
Bona bogi. Babiki di vet.
Eating.
Then re tla se
Ya hadi. Ah, wena tlola tima ka ma.
Not
First leader biki is.
Thabo Mfutsanyana.
Oh, le mona.
Malo.
Una tsuleka meeting.
Where else? Okay, yeah, no, it's fine. Ladies and gentlemen, ne ke tlo kopa hore
Boipelo mabogo.
Boipelo
Thabo Mfutsanyana and Mangaung, can you please give us the district reps that will be speaking after political parties? We just need one speaker moving forward. You can just perhaps have your own chart to say who will be remaining on the list, and then you can make a beeline to the table and then indicate who will be speaking on behalf of the district. Thank you.
Little fair. Okay. Next. Para que empie que más.
Chavala.
Then Mangaung.
Yes, I made the book.
Okay. So you continue. Greetings again, colleagues, honorable members, to the continuation of the Youth Parliament 2022 under the theme Promoting Sustainable Livelihood and Resilience of Young People for a Better Tomorrow. Colleagues, we all know that we took 5 minutes recess, and I believe everyone is ready and re-energized to continue with the program of the day and to finish the business that we were invited here for. When we left for our recess colleagues on the stage, on the podium, I had called Honorable Member Mazibiko from the ANC to come to the podium and give us her speech as well. Honorable Mazibiko, you may ascend to the podium and continue where we left off. Honorable Member, what is your point of order?
I want to register the dissatisfaction of the EFF about how you ran the meeting of the chief whips, especially when we were bulldozed by eldership there in that meeting.
That is not a point of order, Honorable Member.
And then
No.
also, Speaker, what I want to say, my input is this. I'm suggesting that maybe all political party who were there, they must come and speak for it. What are the resolution of that? Lemna must be given an opportunity of keep the resolution, they take being committee. And then the other thing, Speaker, I was suggesting for any political party, I think the only political party is Payamu Putilopu. I don't think there is anything good that it will be said. We have done speaking, so let's just leave these other things like that. And then possibly we can go to that one of the district. We try to see how we minimize it as we have agreed. That's it. Thank you.
Number one, that is not a point of order, Honorable Member. And secondly, you left the meeting before the meeting was concluded. We had agreed that we are going to continue with the 3 speakers that are left in the political parties, that they must come and speak as outlined on the speakers list. So we are going to continue as we had agreed in the meeting that you left without knowing its conclusions. Honorable Mazibiko, you may take to the podium.
Madam Speaker and honorable members, we have gathered today at this Youth Parliament to review as we recollect on the resolutions of the 2021 Youth Parliament and to take stock of the ground covered, where amongst other issues, the key challenges faced by our youth were high rate of unemployment, inequality and poverty. The COVID-19 pandemic has further deepened the challenges through the lockdown levels that did not assist in opening the market to allow young people to occupy their destiny. Rather, it deepened their vulnerability as the status quo remained. This resulted in many young people being victims of drug and alcohol abuse, while others could not even bear the frustrations and resorted to committing suicide, and others joined gangsterism and got arrested, resulting into them having criminal records. That alone took them to the wrong side of the law. One of the renowned 4 leaders of the world, in particular South Africa, Comrade Moses Kotane, when addressing young people, once said, "At this hour of destiny, your country and your people needs you. The future of South Africa is in your hands, and it will be you that makes what you want of it." It cannot be correct that as young people today, we are still not knowing or have not done anything in ensuring the future of the country is indeed in our hands, as called upon by the leader of Node, by that leader of Node. As we meet in this August House, we must resolve on making a difference in honoring the words of such leaders. Honorable members, this state of affair can and must never be left unattended. We must call upon all relevant departments like the Department of Health and the Department of Social Development to assist in the rehabilitation and reincorporation of these young people. This also includes addressing the issues of gender-based violence, child-headed families and households whose fate led them on wrong side of the law as well. to come back to society and actively contribute in building the provincial economy in various sectors. The Department of Police, Roads and Transport is also called upon to fast-track the expungement of criminal records, as there are many young people who have applied for such, and it takes forever for the department to reply to their requests. While complaining about this department, let us compliment it also for the progress it has made on the safety and security ongoing in this province. There are still more to be done. Amongst these people, Madam Speaker and honorable members, you would be surprised to learn that there are many of them who are qualified as artisans in skills like welding, plumbing, motor mechanics, and many other skilled labor, who could contribute immensely in growing provincial economy.
Honorable Masbuko, there's a point of order. Honorable Masbuko. Mic, please switch off the mic.
No, thank you, Honorable Chair. I'm raising on the point of order that in terms of the instruction or order of the process, it was said that honorable members of the youth parliament, they should not wear something. So I see a member of the opposition party wearing something. Equally, he's just to be off now. Thank you.
Honorable member, I'm trying to look and check if there's any member who is wearing something, but I can't see that something. So please, honorable members, if you are wearing something, can you please take it off? Please take off that something. Honorable Mazibuko, you may take to the podium.
Madam Speaker, we also acknowledge the commitment demonstrated by the Honorable Makalo Mahali through his Department of Distie in empowering emerging businesses of young people and strengthening the local economy. We, however, call upon him not to drop the ball, rather continue supporting young people in various business sectors. We would also like to task the Distie together with Treasury to take on board also the same young people who they have skilled, to giving them businesses that can sustain them, and also taking through the theme of this gathering of making them sustainable.
Honorable Masbuko, your time is up. Thank you. Honorable members, I would like to call on the podium the Speaker from the DA, Honorable Mukhomu.
Greetings to honorable members in the House, Honorable Speaker. I am here to say South Africa's unemployment rate is considered to be a chronic cross-country comparison, regularly affirmed that South African unemployment rates are among one of the highest in the world. Speaker, I am here to outline measures that the Free State government can implement to tackle the youth unemployment rate. Firstly, the figures from the Statistics South Africa show that a whopping 63.9% of the Free State youth between the ages of 50 and 34 are unemployed. This is a very alarming, and what is more alarming is that the situation could worsen in the coming years. It has been shown that this is primarily due to the weak economic performance and the structure of the provincial economy, which is moving towards becoming more skills intensive, while a significant number of its participants have little to no hard skills. The high unemployment youth rate shows that the young people are not gaining skills and experience that is needed to drive the economy forward. What causes the unemployment to be so high in the Free State? It is within our education system. There is lack of education and training. A great amount of university graduates are unable to find jobs and put their knowledge as well as capabilities into producing innovative and contribute to the economic growth. What can be done, which is what I'm here to outlay to the House. The long-term remedies to this youth unemployment problem are in the education development, the labor force skilling or reskilling, inclusive economic growth, and promotion of youth entrepreneurship, amongst others. When we promote the youth entrepreneurship skills, we will then avoid conversations where the MEC will come here to undermine the local economies of young. Oh my gosh. When we tackle this entrepreneurship and skill and give the youth skills, we will prevent the MECs to come here and belittle the ideas that come from our young people in the locations where he will say he's tired of getting ideas of car washes and tuck shops. So we apologize, MECs, that young people are trying to claim back the local economy of tuck shops that has been taken by foreign nationals. Skills which are in demand and lead to employment should be made known to the youth. Secondary and tertiary institutions do not provide enough postgraduate guidance, and therefore this is something that should be taken into consideration. The education system should ease transformation from school to tertiary to work and to some labor market institutions. What can be implemented to combat the unemployment is an additional funding for programs, youth programs, and learners in secondary education must be prepared to go into the workforce. Municipalities should be obligated to give young people between the ages of 18 and 27 the opportunity to apply for social assistance benefits, and if they can check and trace these number of young people who apply within the period of a year, they must be forced to employ these young people. There must be facilitation to the school to work transition by promoting apprenticeship and combined work and training opportunities. Any company that recruits young people, apprentices, should be exempted from paying social security charges. Promote and transformation of internships into permanent employment contracts. Provide subsidies to promote apprenticeship for unskilled young people and support measures to help apprenticeship made redundant to complete the training. In conclusion,
please switch off your mic, Honorable. What is your point of order, Honorable Maspi?
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I'm not sure if the member is ready to take a question, but the reality of the truth is that the TKE at the Western Cape has failed to transform in terms of ensuring that
Honorable Member.
So
Honorable Member. Firstly, you said you were raising a point of order. That was not a point of order, and I'm not going to allow you to ask Honorable Mkhomu a question. Honorable Mkhomu, you may take to the podium and continue.
in conclusion, the road to compacting unemployment won't take a day or a single person. It requires all hands on deck, setting up of monitoring and evaluation mechanism, not just the programs, but also allow budget allocations towards the youth. Reflect of government commitments to youth unemployment in national budgets. Establish the links between young people employment policy and other policies that affect the youth employment, outcomes and clear indications of roles and responsibilities of different implementation partners in employment policies and action plans of the youth. What is irrefutable is the fact that the Free State province faces what might seem like an insurmountable challenge of youth unemployment, which cannot be ignored. Well-coordinated massive policy investments will and time are needed from all the stakeholders if the province is to make a dent on this undeniable problem of youth unemployment.
Thank you, Honorable Nkomo. Honorable members, we are going to call on our last speaker from the political parties. From the ANC, Honorable Memela, can you please take to the podium?
Thanks, Speaker. I will not grade, it's going to take too much of my time. The FF Plus come here and say that why should we participate in the event of June 16 organized by the Speaker's office? I think, what do we mean by bringing government to people? Why would you have a problem with such an initiative? Because we take government to our people so that our people can vent our challenges that confront them, and that the information must be first-hand information. On schools, they came here and speak about that the lack of schools and everything. The ANC-led government has spent 2 trillion over the past 10 years in building schools, capacitating and for our national building and improving our infrastructure. We have a good story to tell. We have done good. We are still going to do good. The DA people came here and campaigned. The same person who said that the ANC is suffering from an ideological perspective does not have membership, by the way. He's a DA leader with no membership. So what we then need to do, can I be protected, Speaker? Speaker, can I be protected?
You are protected, Honorable Member. You may continue.
Time is moving.
Honorable Memela, there's a point of order. Honorable Member, I saw your hand. Oh. Honorable Memela, please switch off your mic.
Speaker, Stephen Patton, Democratic Alliance. Honorable Member said that our chief whip doesn't have membership, and can we please withdraw because he cannot. It's not a fact, by the way. He cannot even prove it that he doesn't have membership. And it has nothing to do with the DA. Thank you. Don't be emotional.
Honorable Memela, can you not speak on issues that you have no knowledge of?
Okay, Madam.
So that we avoid you accusing people of not being members or being members. So can you not speak on issues that you don't have full information on? Move forward. Honorable Member, what is that hand for?
So it's a point of clarity.
What is, okay, what do you need clarity on?
No, I just want to ask, are we making rhetorical or rebuttal speeches? If we're making rebuttal speeches, may we please at least be told so we can also prepare. Number 2, Speaker, you just said when the honorable member was on the podium, you didn't even see what happened. You said, Honorable, you may proceed, but you were just sorting out other things. You just told him that he must proceed. We're just asking that can you please be consistent with your ruling, in order the question of your biasness doesn't come up. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Honorable Member, there's no need to clap hands really. I did make a ruling on that, if you were listening. And secondly, Honorable, on what speakers present here really, you can't blame the House for that. I think Honorable Memela is making his own submissions, and as such, he should be allowed, like anybody else who came to the podium, who made their own submissions without any disruptions. Yes, he is making his own submissions. Honorable Memela, you may
continue. Speaker, there is a member who said that they represent a majority of young people, but with at least 15 membership for the entire province. Chairman Mao says that the young people are the most effective and vital in the force of society. They are most eager to learn and least conservative in their thinking. This is especially in the era of socialism.
Honorable Memela, please take
my time.
Honorable Mukoni, I see your hand there.
Yes, Speaker, I come on a point of order where I see you made a ruling and you informed the honorable member that he must stop speaking on issues that he has no knowledge on, but he has continued. Also, number 2, Speaker, I've realized that when the member is standing there and attacking members of other organizations, you are allowing that, but you were very quick to call us into order when we were standing on the podium. Again, Speaker, you are biased. And that is why we are not reaching an understanding. You continue to be biased, even in your rulings. So can you please rule on your biasness, on your conduct?
Honorable Mukoni, I'm going to say this again. You want to dictate as to how this house should operate today, and that is not going to happen. I made a ruling on Honorable Memela and I cautioned him on that he must not make assumptions or talk on things that he has no knowledge of. Honorable Memela, I caution you again, please don't speak on things that you have no knowledge of, so that we don't repeat this dialogue as it is unnecessary. So I'm not going to give a ruling on my biasness because I think I'm doing a steady job really under circumstances. So Honorable Member, you may continue. Honorable Member, you may continue.
Oh. Thanks, Speaker. The danger of now having this
what is the point of order, Honorable Member?
Speaker, the member there is very comfortable to engage with the line. Can you please stop him because the reason is doing that consistently.
Sit down, Honorable Member.
The reason is doing that consistently.
Honorable Member, sit down.
To order.
Honorable Member, sit down.
Please.
Sit down, Honorable Member. Honorable Memela is going to continue with his speech as everyone else did in this sitting. Honorable Member, you may continue.
Antonia Gramsci, a Marxist scholar in Italy, once said that we must study because we will need all your intelligence. You must agitate, we need all your enthusiasm. We must organize because we need your strength. He was speaking to young people. So we are here as the ANC to say that the ANC is reinventing its energy. It's doing on the right track. It's delivering as it has promised. We admit that we might have some challenges there and there, but the ANC is indeed a government of the people and by the people. Now, what you should actually emphasize as young people on this day, it was supposed to speak about the challenges that we confront in terms of the economy and the land question, which I expected my fellow EFF comrades to at least say something about that. When we speak about the economy, we will then When we speak about the economy, we will then have to make our analysis in terms of the Free State economy.
You may continue, Honorable Member.
Oh.
Continue, Honorable Memela.
So the challenges with our economy is solely because.
I did not note. You may take your seat. Yes, you may take your seat. Thank you. Honorable Member, what is your point of order?
Sit down, Chief.
Honorable Member, please when you address other members, you address them as honorable members. Honorable member, honorable member,
You called us comrades.
honorable member,
It was 5 minutes before you called us comrades.
continue with your point of order. Let's
You have
hear it.
not the EFF chief. According to order, speak. Again, this is not your house.
Honorable member, no, honorable member, there's no need. You even further went to call me chief, so I'm not even going to make a ruling on that. You are out of order in every sense of the word. You can't come here in this house and call other honorable members chiefs and other names that are unparliamentary. Honorable member, it is very wrong to do that. No. And also when you address other honorable members, you can't be just standing up as and when you like and also pointing to honorable members in the house. Honorable member, that is not how things are going to operate. That is not, you may sit down, honorable member. Thank you. Honorable member, please continue. Continue, honorable member.
They will disturb, they will take my time if I could. Should I continue?
Continue, honorable member.
Thanks, Speaker. So when we, in relations to the economy in the Free State, what you should be advocating for as young people is to say that we advocate that we have a non-sleeping economy. Like this is happening in China, it's happening in the US. You make our factories, our shop owners and everything to be functional for 24/7. Our clinics, our schools. For instance, we have a shortage of universities. What we can do, we can say that a high school during the day is a high school. At night it becomes a university. The same infrastructure, the same people, just that it serves many things. And what we then start, Speaker, can I be protected, please? What we then need to advocate for as young people is to say that you must have an economy that will cater for our people, bring profit to our people, so that the protection of the capitalism that is set for an annual, it can then be diverted and assist our people on ground saving.
Please take the seat.
My time.
I see a hand at the back. Honorable member in the blazer there. Are you raising on a point of order? Okay, let's hear your point of order.
Madam Chair, this is not fair.
Excuse me, honorable members, can you please be quiet? I want to hear what the speaker is saying.
Honorable member is presenting, honorable members are only to say, because the House will say clearly that if you want a point of order, you just raise your hand quietly, because now, if they are saying point of order simultaneously, now the meeting is time. So can you please call honorable members to order? Thank you.
I think your point speaks to the decorum of the House so that order is sustained. I see a hand. What is that hand for, honorable member? Let's see. No, sit down. Sit down, honorable member. Sit down. Sit down. Sit down. Sit down and keep quiet. Sit down and keep quiet, honorable member.
Thank you so much, Honorable Chairperson. I have 2 points of orders, Honorable Chairperson. Number 1, the speaker there at the podium, he referred us, the EFF members, as comrades. Can he please withdraw? Number 2, Speaker, Chairperson, there at the back, we are being called by anarchists. Can those comrades there at the back stop calling us that? Thank you so much.
Order, honorable members. Honorable Memela. Honorable Memela. Please continue.
Okay.
Order, honorable members, order. Honorable members, order. Honorable Memela, continue, please.
And the challenges that we face with the land, why the land cannot be distributed to our people, is solely because that of inheritance. A person who came here in 19-something still owns the land and given this land to each generational people. What then the government needs to do is that we must cut this inheritance of the land. The government must implement harsh measures to ensure that our people get a chance to have a land and that our land does not stay in a one family that thinks that is superior than other families. As I was saying about the issue of economy, we need to ensure that as young people, we have a non-sleeping economy in the state. For instance, Checkers and ShopRite must hire people for 24/7 so that we can hire more people and ensure that our people are hired and reactionary lumens.
Thank you, Honorable Memela. That concludes our second session on political parties. We're going to move to the next point on the we're going to move to the second point on the same program, honorable members. We're going to move to the district, and I'm going to hand over to my co-chair to come and chair this session. I'll see you in a bit, but I'm still here.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, for granting me this opportunity. Let me first start by greeting the House. Before we begin officially with the session of ours, I would like to quickly remind honorable members of the rules that we all agreed on last night. As they were all presented to us and we all agreed there was no objections to the rules that are going to govern this sitting. I'm going to be quick in reminding honorable members of the rules so that when we proceed with this session, it's more smooth, as we'll be all on the same page, because I have an impression that some of us might have forgot the standing orders or the rules that we adopted, and hence there's a little bit of commotion here and there. We agreed that every member shall bow to the presiding officer or chairperson in passing to or from his seat. No member shall pass between the presiding officer, chairperson, and the member who is speaking, nor between the presiding officer and the table, nor stand in any of the passages or gangways. Except when addressing the presiding officer or when entering or leaving the chamber, members must be seated. There shall be no photos in this gallery. Members who are not to be interrupted, so that we are all on the same page. No member shall interrupt another member who is speaking except to call attention to a point of order, to a question of privilege, or to the presence of a non-member. Under the maintenance of order, order shall be maintained by the presiding officer, and members shall only speak when recognized by the presiding officer or chairperson. The precedence of presiding officer. Whenever the presiding officer or chairperson rises during a debate or engagement, any member then speaking or offering to speak shall resume his or her seat, and the presiding officer shall be heard without interruptions. Irrelevance of repetition. The presiding officer, after having called attention to the conduct of a member who persists in irrelevance or repetition of arguments, may direct the member to discontinue his or her speech. Member or presiding officer ordered to withdraw. If the presiding officer is of the opinion that a member is deliberately contravening the provision of these rules, or that a member is in contempt of or is disregarding the authority of the chair, or that a member's conduct is grossly disorderly, he or she may order the member to withdraw immediately from the chamber for the remainder of the day's sitting. If a member is of an opinion that a presiding officer is deliberately contravening a provision of these rules, or that a presiding officer is in contempt of or is disregarding the authority of this House, or that a presiding officer's conduct is grossly disorderly, this House may, by motion supported by a majority of members of this House, order the presiding officer to withdraw immediately from the chamber for the remainder of the day's sitting, provided that another presiding officer assumes the chair or this House elects a member who shall act as presiding officer for the remainder of the sitting. Members, to address rules of debate, the rules of debate, every member desiring to speak shall rise in his or her place addressing the chair, provided that if a podium is used, a member shall only speak from the podium, except to raise a point of order or a question of privilege, and to furnish an explanation in terms of Rule 25(1). The rights of members of the House to speak. A member may speak to question before this committee, a member may speak to the question before this House or a committee, to any amendment proposed to a question or amendment proposed or to be proposed by himself or herself, or to a point of order or a question of privilege. Members may not speak twice to a question unless otherwise provided in these standing orders. When the speaker is in the chair, no member may speak twice to a question. Time limits for speeches. Unless otherwise provided in these rules, when this House is not in committee, members shall be allocated time to participate in the debates. Offensive language. No member shall use offensive or unbecoming language. The speaker shall give his or her decision forthwith or subsequently on an objection raised to the language considered to be offensive or unbecoming under these rules. Point of order. When a point of order is raised, the member called to order shall resume his or her seat, and after the point of order has been stated to the presiding officer by the member raising it, the presiding officer shall give his or her ruling or decision thereon either forthwith or subsequently. Those, in short, honorable members, are the standing orders that supposed to and should be guiding our deliberations as this sitting. With that being said, I believe we are all on the same page, and we will be cooperating with these rules as our minds are now refreshed on what needs to happen and what should not happen. Without a waste of any time, as indicated by the speaker, that I will be presiding over this session of presentations by district sector representatives. We had a meeting with representatives of parties and various sectors that are here with their leaders, and it was agreed in that meeting that instead of having 4 speakers per district, as we had initially agreed last night, we are going to reduce this to only 1 speaker per district. We further resolved as leaders of delegation and presiding officers that the speeches that are going to be delivered on behalf of the districts are no longer going to be 20 minutes, but they are going to be reduced to 10 minutes. Those are the new changes that I feel members of the House needed to be aware of. With that out of the way, honorable members, allow me to call the first presenter on behalf of the Mangaung district. Honorable member Malo, can you please take the podium?
Honorable Speaker of the Free State Legislature, Honorable Chair of this session, members of the legislature, and all the members of this parliament, please receive my warmest salutations. As said, my name is Nhlakanipho Effort Malo, and I'm going to be speaking on behalf of young people in Mangaung, representing various sectors. I'm a student leader, and I've been in many platforms, different universities, whereby students have been going through many crises. As many are aware that the amount of strikes that has been received across countries, more than even workers, it is students. But it is under the basis that we basically believe that as young people and students in particular, we are not represented, we are actually accommodated mostly when it comes to the implementation of certain commitments that have been done all along over the years by different presidents and ministers and deputy ministers. So without any further, I would then like to first highlight that currently in the Free State we are having NSFAS Summit. The NSFAS Summit that is actually supposed to be addressing the issues of students in Mangaung, mostly in the host university, which is the CUT, but we're currently having the situation whereby many of them, Chair, are actually even denied access, and there is just a talk show. So we are not taken serious. So it is under the impression that when members who are coming from strategic positions, whereby they have all the positions and the power to implement, they then decide to close the session, allow stakeholders who are coming only from business sectors to represent students, and then at the end of the day, they would want to address the issues of the students.
Honorable Malo, second please. Honorable Memela, can you please sit upright? Let's respect the decorum of the House, honorable members.
So, speaking on those issues, students are currently facing an issue. Chair.
Honorable Malo, can you please take a seat since there's an order?
Thank you.
Speaker, since you are correcting people in the way they're sitting, the honorable member there at the back, could you please respect them?
Thank you, honorable member. Honorable Tawameku, I would like to plead with you leadership, if possible, can you please get fresh air for 5 minutes and then you come back. Comrade Honorable Malo, please take the podium.
Thank you very much, Chair. So I feel like different delegations who are coming from student communities have been able to highlight on many issues that students are currently facing and proposed a solution as to how can we better counter such a situation. So I'll just be exact to say, number one, early in the year we were very disappointed as the student community when it happened that students at the University of Free State were denied food and denied accommodation, and they slept at the bridge. And it then happens that in the next morning we found ourselves all over social media, and people who were actually agitating that process and driving that process was the Free State provincial government. There was an issue in Qwaqwa whereby students banned 2 facilities in the university, of which it was something that should have been condemned, but it actually concerned us to a certain extent to say issues have been pertaining since the beginning of the year, but the Free State provincial government is only vocal when there is now something wrong. To say at that point, where were they in the beginning when students were sleeping outside? Where were they when students didn't have food? Where were they whereby at the University of Free State 6,000 students were denied access even though they had offers and had to go back? So it was the issue that we are not saying all these kind of responses are not okay, but we are saying, can the same energy be invested also when students are crying out and saying there are issues? As someone who's representing the sector, I will then go on also and like to move to, because I had 4 sectors to actually speak on, so I've spoken so much on that, and I'm basically believing that with what I've written down, it is going to then be well represented on that side. So I would then like to go on Honorable Chair and the House to the point of which is very critical, of which I think.
Honorable Malo, please take the chair.
Yes, thank you. Sorry, Chair.
Honorable Speaker, can the Speaker on the podium take a question?
We will not be allowing any questions, as we have already indicated. There's been a precedent that has already been said that no one will be taking any questions. It would be unfair to deviate from the process at this point. Honorable Malo, with that being said, please take the podium.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Speaker, for allowing me that chance. My honorable member there, Honorable Tiseto Mokhumong, did touch on the economy that many young people in townships, through an apology that he made in the MEC. But I would then like to deliberate further as that it is something that falls under the SMMEs, and we basically believe that such a sector, or rather I would say a division, has not really been given so much attention. It is up to this date that we are saying SMMEs and micro businesses play an important role in development of an economy. Successful economies around the world have acknowledged the positive contribution that SMMEs play towards growth and development of the economy. In African countries, Honorable Chair, where many economies are informal, the small businesses are very facilitating individual participation in the economy. As such, SMMEs form a critical backbone of many in the African economies. Furthermore, Chair, is that as in many socio-economic establishments in Africa, in South Africa, small businesses operate in different environments. So in a case like that, why does then not so much focus is being given to small businesses in township? Wherever you grow, and they've been saying it's townships, now even in suburbs, because I would like to believe that universities is considered a suburb. If you go around there, there are many names that you know. Some is Max, some is Casper, some is what. They are all, if you can ask them, who is Casper? They would not know, but they know that they're operating here. But the issue is that, with me getting that across, even now, it's no longer, it's in rurals, it's in townships, it's in suburbs. That division has been taken by foreign nationals. And if you can actually check, many of them in the media have been found to actually not even contributing a cent into the African economy. So it is to say, it has been said, there are many movements that have been proposed to say, no, take foreign national. But the truth is that what are these sectors, the SMMEs, like the Department of Destea here, the finance and whatever, why are they not taking it up to themselves? That they are saying today, this is what, and then you'll find that the minister saying, oh, not the minister, the MEC, the MEC saying they are tired of such. Clearly says that he is tired of actually investing in young people in those communities. There was a youth launch in the office of in the OR Tambo building. In that youth launch, the businesses that were actually put there, it was 4IR and all those things that are very much sophisticated. But in the issues that are actually pertaining the majority of young people who are underprivileged, it is not really taken into consideration. So ours is to then say, Chair, and we are going to give a submission also, as we were advised earlier, that we want to bring it to you as to say how we're exactly willing to make sure that we are implementing this thing, because we are tired of speaking. Also, Chair, it is our submission that from now on, after reading the reports that we found there, that in the implementation side, from what was resoluted upon in the Parliament of 2020, there are many blank spaces. It clearly says that this department is currently not capacitated enough, or not really taking into consideration the seriousness of this sitting. We therefore propose that there should be a steering committee that is going to comprise of all these young people who are currently here today, to ensure that they attach timelines and make sure that their businesses also that are going to happen maybe at least once a month or twice, to ensure that how far is the Free State provincial government in collaboration with other critical sectors to ensure that what young people who come and present here bring this thing into action, rather than this thing becoming a talk show and TikTok, as many comrades have alluded. I withdraw before being charged. Thank you. It was a very big mistake. Thank you very much. May I continue speak? So it is in that sense that we are saying, let us be taken serious. Before I close, and I am also representing the sector whereby it is mostly affected. We find many young people, many young women in Africa, they themselves recognizing themselves, or rather owning up to Charlotte Maxeke as one of those who played a very critical role in the struggle of women. But whatever we found in political spaces, in strategic departments, there is an issue of quotism. Women are just filling up spaces. They are only taking, you find that out of the top 5 of the ANC, they are only taking treasurer. There is no chair. So it is to then say, at this point, let us stop quotism, rather be very deliberate about our program to say we are not accommodating women, we are not even accommodating young women, but we are basically saying they form part of this. They also deserve the equal opportunity. In less than 20 seconds from now, I'll then be able to speak on a very critical issue that I know it has many representations. However, they are just speaking. It is Pride Month. If you can ask Free State Provincial Government or ANC, how many programs of Pride Month have you ever done today? You are going to find that there is issue and there has been none. So it is to say, stop preaching, stop singing accommodation, or rather accepting or including the LGBTIQ plus, but make it an implementation. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Honorable Malo, for your input. Without a waste of time, let me move to Lejwe-Leputswa region, Lejwe-Leputswa district, honorable members, and call upon the podium Honorable Sempiwe Kalipa.
Honorable Speaker, Honorable Deputy Speaker, leadership in the legislature, and honorable delegates, the House at large, a very good day. I am from the LGBTQIA+ community. We are not how the world sees us. The society needs to stop labeling us. We're not some objects. My first point for the day will be the justice system of this country. We live among the trauma of being mentally, psychologically bullied, violated physically, and brutally killed for that matter, simply because our government does not acknowledge us, but they only recognize us. With regards to the aforementioned incidents, we would like to know and inquire as the LGBTQI community, on which day of the month in a calendar will the justice system of this country gonna have a specified and direct act such that we can be protected by all odds of the societies? Because women and children also have their specified and direct act. So how come we, as a community, the LGBTQI community, how come we are not protected? We are not a bunch of cattle with no shepherd. We're also humans. In the working sector, okay, my second point is the working sector. The conditions that we face, nor should I say the challenges that we face on our day-to-day workplaces, in our day-to-day workplaces, you may find in some cases that the employer or superior in a specific work is married after 9 men of his own family, but decides to trespass the non-fraternization rule within the Labor Acts in the workplaces by means of sexual harassment. Because if not, I deny that my life would be a living hell in a workplace. The situations are not favorable for us. Come to speak of religious. Churches nowadays are not what they were back in the days. A church is supposed to be the medium of communication between myself and the Almighty. However, the biblical discrimination is out of this world in our churches. You'll only be accepted and respected provided that your tithe is of a specific amount to please the church council, the congregants, and the fellowship at large. Do I need to have a title in church? Do I need to earn a certain wage level per annum in church? Do I need to dress in a certain way that suits the council and the church congregates? At some fellowship worship centers, you cannot be joining a worshiping team if you are from this community of ours, simply because the Bible says. How judicial. And in the business sector, it is quite funny how in the business sector we face challenges and struggles of being addressed or assisted in a very undermined way. Typical example, the funding departments like CIFA, NYDA, and DSTIA included, only say it fit to provide and allocate funds for the LGBTQI people in the business, mainly for salons, catering and decor, garments making, fast foods and car washes. Why not multi-million businesses such as agriculture, tourism, Honorable Makalo Mohale, property, manufacturing, minerals and mining? Are these only above-mentioned industries suitable for their political associates, their relatives, or the big boys? Now let's speak of the government and politics. Come to think of it, the government forms for all the jobs we have in this government sector still accommodates the male and female in the gender boxes. However, the constitution of the ruling party states, and I quote, "It is non-racial and non-sexist." Where and when is it applicable? Because I ought to believe that if that was the case, we would be, as the LGBTQI, in the Free State at large, we would be getting political deployments in our various regions and municipalities. But till this far, I've not seen any of my members from my society within the political deployments. Correct me if I'm wrong, my chair.